How can a cafe chain thrive everywhere except one store that poisons everything around it? Jackson slammed the report onto the table, numbers bleeding red across the page. Store 14 had collapsed. Revenue down. Complaints doubled, loyalty shattered. His voice cut the silence. Explain this. A district manager stammered. Short staff turnover. Jackson's glare sharpened. And the stolen tips. Do those vanish because of turnover, too? No answer. The room shrank into its own shame. 7 years of sweat, money, and faith. He had rebuilt 19 stores from ruins. But this one had rotted, and nobody cared enough to tell the truth. He leaned forward, voice low, but razor sharp. I'm done with excuses. I'll walk into store 14. Myself. Not as your CEO. As a man you won't recognize. The table fell silent. But the storm had already begun. Jackson had never forgotten the smell of burnt coffee and grease on his clothes when he was 19. He had worked double shifts for a diner that promised raises, promised fairness, promised the dignity of hard work. In the end, the owner pocketed wages, cut hours, and left him with nothing but bitterness and a lesson burned into his chest. Never let people be used up and discarded. Years later, when fortune finally turned, he bought his first cafe. Not for glamour, not for power, but to prove that work could be different, that baristas deserved more than broken machines and stolen tips, that customers deserved warmth, not indifference. 7 years had passed since that beginning. 7 years of risk. Sleepless nights, pouring every dollar he had into rebuilding a brand others had abandoned. 19 of his 20 stores thrived. They had grown into safe harbors, places buzzing with energy, laughter, and music. Yet one location, Store 14, refused to heal. Sales slid, complaints mounted, morale bled away. Every report about that store was an insult to the dream he had sacrificed for. He carried inside him both faith and fury. Faith in the workers who still fought to serve with dignity, and fury at the managers who trampled them. The contradiction knotted him. How could the same company produce both success and rot? That night, staring at his reflection in a hotel mirror, he stripped away the image of the CEO, expensive suit, polished shoes, the aura of command. He shaved close, pulled a cap low over his brow, and zipped a plain hoodie tight. With glasses and a trimmed beard, he looked like a man the world would pass without a second glance. That was the point. Jackson would walk into store 14, not as the man who built the chain, but as another nameless customer. Only then could he see what had gone wrong, who had betrayed his vision, and whether there was anything left worth saving. The ghost of that 19-year-old worker still walked beside him, and tomorrow, for the first time in years, he would face the same kind of floor he once swept. Lana was 23, though exhaustion had already stolen years from her face. She had been behind the counter for 2 full years, learning every hiss of the espresso machine, every stubborn drawer of the register, every customer complaint that landed hardest on her shoulders. She wasn't there because coffee was her dream. Her real dream sat in a dusty sketchbook under her bed, pages of charcoal drawings she hadn't touched in months. Art was her love. But survival paid the rent. She worked doubles more often than anyone else. Always the first to volunteer when the schedule fell apart. That meant 12-hour days with no